Yeah, so I don't understand how I didn't wake up until like 2 o'clock today. It doesn't make any sense.
Do you remember hearing a gunshot?
No, and that's what I don't understand. Like, how would I not wake up from a gunshot? I feel like I would have heard that.
This is 18-year-old Christian Ard. She is sitting in an interrogation room in Putnam County, Florida, telling detectives that she slept through her friend being shot to death less than 4 feet from where she was lying. A 9mm handgun produces approximately 160 decibels when fired. That is louder than a jet engine at full thrust. Inside a single-wide trailer, that sound would have been physically painful to anyone conscious in the room. But Christian says she slept right through it. She also says she found a gun lying next to his body and did not connect it to the wound on his head. Instead, she picked the gun up, placed it in her purse alongside his money, walked the purse out to her car, and waited over 30 minutes before she ever dialed for help. What Christian does not know as she sits in this room is that detectives have already recovered Clorox wipes from her rubbish bin soaked in Dakota's blood. They have already pulled the shell casing she hid inside a cigarette pack on her center console. They have her phone records showing she was awake and active on that phone a full 30 minutes before she dialed 911. And the medical examiner has already determined that the wound could not have been self-inflicted. Christian Ard is about to spend the next several hours constructing a version of events that detectives can dismantle one piece at a time. And the only person in this room who does not know that is her. Dakota Kersey was 16 years old. He was the kind of person who noticed when someone else was struggling and did something about it. When Christian Ard was kicked out of her home and had nowhere to go, it was Dakota's family who opened their door. When she eventually found a trailer of her own but was too frightened to sleep there alone, it was Dakota who came over and stayed with her. He brought things she needed. He sat with her through the evenings so she would not have to be afraid. Friends said he was interested in more than friendship. Christian later acknowledged as much to detectives. But Dakota was 16 and she was 18, and she told him the age difference made a relationship impossible. What she did not tell him is that her interest in his company had more to do with what he provided than who he was. On the evening of December 23, 2019, Dakota packed his school backpack and left his family's home. Christian was supposed to drive him to school the next morning. He brought the bag because he planned to be there overnight and go straight to class. He never made it to school. He never made it to Christmas morning. He never walked out of that trailer. The relationship between the two would become central to the investigation. Dakota had been looking after Christian. He had taken her in, supported her, and made himself available whenever she needed someone. Christian, by her own account, had recently been cut off by her family, who were pushing her to find employment. Dakota filled the gap her family no longer would. What detectives would eventually determine is that Christian also had something Dakota did not know about: a 9mm handgun she had purchased on the black market after a home invasion at the trailer 2 months earlier. Christian is about to sit across from Investigator Harris and Sergeant Foxwell and attempt to explain all of this away. She will do so across 3 separate interrogation sessions spanning several weeks. This is the first.
She's just gonna take some pictures. Where is it?
Just stand right here.
There's like a mugshot or something?
No, it's not a mugshot.
Christian has been in the interrogation room for under 5 minutes. Her friend is in a hospital bed with a bullet wound to the head. She has not asked how he is. She has not asked whether he is alive. She has not spoken his name. Her first unprompted concern is whether the photographs being taken of her resemble a mugshot. Pay attention to what people talk about when they are not being asked questions. It tells you what occupies the front of their mind. For Christian, that is not Dakota.
Hey, Christian. I'm Investigator Harris. I work with robbery and homicide with the Sheriff's Office, and this is Sergeant Foxwell. Hey. How you doing today? I know you had a rough day. Listen, before we do anything else, I got to read this to you. We read it to everybody before we start, okay? You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you as evidence in court. You have the right to have a lawyer present while being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer will be appointed for you without cost before questioning. If you wish to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you still have the right to stop answering questions at any time. You understand those rights?
Yeah, but
We do this to everybody before we start, okay?
that's never how I came here in the same exact room and got asked questions before, and this was not recommended.
Okay, well, I don't know who talked to you, but this is how we always do it.
Okay.
Harris handles this smoothly. Christian is already testing boundaries, questioning whether the Miranda warning is standard or specific to her. She wants to know if she is being treated as a suspect. Harris deflects without confirming or denying. He does not want her lawyered up. He wants her talking. And right now, she very much wants to talk.
Okay, so tell me, how long have you known Dakota? Quite a while, or
I've known him since like January of last year.
January last year? How'd you guys meet?
I think just like through his brother, just a mutual person.
His brother? You and his brother were friends, or what?
We were friends, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Not anymore, though?
No.
You guys have fallen out, I guess?
Semi, something like that.
Okay. It's kind of a personal thing, then?
I don't know, just there were his brother just did some things that weren't really all that great.
But you met Dakota through, what's his brother's name?
Jamie.
Brother, and what kind of necessitated the friendship between y'all? You just got along, were able to talk and all
We
that?
both have anxiety and a bit of depression, just not really that socially out there, just kind of socially awkward, I guess. I don't know.
Watch how Christian frames the relationship. She positions it as mutual support between two people who share similar struggles. But notice the language. She describes what they have in common, not what Dakota means to her. There is no warmth in the description, no affection, no specificity about him as a person. She is describing a functional arrangement, not a friendship.
Do you recall him ever saying anything about wanting to hurt himself?
No. I mean, like, yeah, but I didn't, nothing like serious about that he would do anything, I didn't think. I don't know.
Do you remember what he said to you before, or that led you to believe that he would hurt himself? He said that there was kind of something.
Well, I mean, he always says that he hates his life, but I mean, I say the same thing, and I mean, he said he wants to die. But I mean, all the things that I've heard him say, I've said myself. Like, I don't think it's not anything that was like just a red flag, I don't think.
This is the first time Christian floats the idea that Dakota may have harmed himself. She does it without being asked directly. Harris asked if Dakota ever talked about hurting himself. Christian could have said no. Instead, she volunteers that he has said he wants to die while simultaneously minimizing it. She is planting a seed. She wants self-harm on the table as an explanation. Remember this. The medical examiner has already determined the wound was most likely not self-inflicted.
Harris now asks Christian to walk him through the night. This is where she will build the version of events she needs detectives to believe. Every detail she offers is a thread that can be pulled.
So about 7 o'clock you went to sleep, and you saying you didn't wake up until like 2 today.
It was right before I called the ambulance.
Okay.
Because, like, I had, yeah.
You had what?
I had woken up, and I couldn't figure out why didn't understand why he was on the floor, and I sat up, and then I just saw blood, and I started panicking, and I didn't know what to do.
Do you remember hearing a gunshot?
No, and that's what I don't understand. Like, how would I not wake up from a gunshot? I feel like I would have heard that.
Okay.
I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. But like, my window was still pinned shut because the window was broken, but it was still all pinned shut.
Christian claims she fell asleep at approximately 7:30 in the evening and did not wake up until 2 the following afternoon. That is over 18 hours of uninterrupted sleep, during which, according to her account, a 9mm handgun was fired in the same room, and she did not stir. Her phone records tell a different story. They show activity at 1 p.m. She was awake at least 30 minutes before she called 911.
So when you got back to the trailer, you said you tried to get the Xbox fixed, right? Okay. And then you couldn't get that fixed. You popped the air mattress at some point. You can't remember when. And then about 7 o'clock, you said you fell asleep.
Like 7:30.
7:30. Okay.
7:38-ish.
Okay. You guys were in bed together?
I was like, so he was sitting on this end of the bed and I was laid down and yeah.
Are you guys semi-boyfriend, girlfriend?
There is something practiced about the way she delivers this. She is not struggling to recall a traumatic experience. She is reciting a sequence she has prepared. Watch the rhythm. Claim, then immediate self-questioning. She says she did not hear the gunshot, then immediately volunteers that she finds this strange herself. It is a preemptive defense. She is addressing the obvious weakness in her own story before the detective can. People recounting genuine trauma do not typically identify the logical flaws in their own experience in real time. People recounting a fabricated story do, because they have already thought about where it breaks down. Harris now moves to the gun.
Did you ever come across the gun?
Yes, I did. And I threw it into my purse. You know this.
Well, I'm asking. I don't know this.
Okay, I thought you already knew.
No, you never told me anything. That's where you and I are talking for the first time, Christian.
I know that.
That's why I don't know any of that. That's why I'm just trying to get you to talk.
Well, I showed the EMS dude where it was.
Okay. That was after he came in?
Yes.
Okay, you showed him where it was?
Yes.
Okay. Where did you find the gun, Christian?
Well, I found it beside Dakota, but I threw it into my purse, and I was, I don't know. I didn't think it was a gunshot wound. I just thought, like, his gun was on the floor beside it. I don't know.
She says she found a gun lying next to someone who was bleeding from the head and did not make the connection. Then she picked the gun up and placed it in her purse. Not on a table, not in a drawer, in her purse. The same purse she then walked to her car. There is only one reason to put a weapon in your handbag and carry it to your vehicle, and it has nothing to do with protecting your friend from a firearms charge.
And you saw the gun, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And why at that time didn't you think that it was...
Because I didn't think Dakota would hurt himself. I don't like...
Why didn't you think that it was a gunshot wound?
I didn't know. I don't know. Like, I don't...
Harris catches something, and so should you. He asked her why she did not recognize the injury as a gunshot wound. Her answer was not about the wound. Her answer was about Dakota. I didn't think Dakota would hurt himself. That is a response to a question nobody asked. Harris did not ask whether Dakota hurt himself. Her answer reveals the narrative she is constructing in her head. She has already decided that self-harm is the explanation she wants on the table. She is steering toward it, even when the question does not call for it.
Okay. Why did you put the gun in your purse? Why didn't you just leave it where it was?
I don't know.
Okay.
Because I knew he couldn't legally have it.
Well, I understand that, but that it doesn't make sense to me. So are you saying that what you were trying to do was keep him out of trouble?
Yeah, basically.
Okay, so you're saying that you picked the gun up and put it in your purse and then took the gun to your car so that he wouldn't get in trouble for having a gun.
Yeah.
But he's got a gunshot wound on.
But I didn't know it was a gunshot wound.
Harris is using a technique here. He is not arguing with her. He is restating her own claims back to her in a calm, sequential order and letting the absurdity accumulate. He is building a stack of her own words so that when the weight becomes too much, the structure collapses under its own contradictions. He doesn't need to accuse her of lying. He just needs to line up everything she has said and let it speak for itself.
So before you called the ambulance, you picked the gun up, put it in your purse that was on the bed, and then put your purse inside the car, correct?
Well, I mean, it wasn't just I was trying to pick up the gun and put the gun in the purse and run the purse to the car. Like, I was trying to get everything that I was taking with me. Like, I had got my wallet. I had figured out my fanny pack. I put my fanny pack in my purse. There was money by his head. And put all that.
How much money was by his head?
It was fake.
It was fake?
Mm-hmm.
Like counterfeit or fake?
Yes,
counterfeit.
Fake money.
She has now admitted to the following sequence. She found Dakota on the floor with a head wound and a gun beside him. Before calling for help, she picked up the gun, picked up the money near his head, went through his pockets, placed all of it in her purse, walked the purse to her car, and only then attempted to reach emergency services. This is not the behavior of someone panicking over a friend. This is the behavior of someone managing a scene. The detectives notice the blood on Christian's clothing and hands. They ask about it.
Yeah, and why didn't you check my hands for gun residue? Because it was from the inside of like I said, I was on my period. When I woke up, I did this because I didn't understand why it was wet and there was blood everywhere.
That makes sense.
Well, I mean, that's kind of embarrassing to tell someone.
This is the first time Christian offers an alternative explanation for the blood. She claims the blood on her clothing and her hands is menstrual blood, not Dakota's. Watch how she delivers it. She says it is embarrassing. She hesitates. She frames it as something personal she would rather not share. The performance of embarrassment is designed to discourage further questioning. If the detective presses, he risks appearing insensitive. It is a deflection dressed as vulnerability. But forensic testing has already confirmed whose blood it is. It belongs to Dakota. The detective steps out. When he returns, his tone has changed.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I got to give you some bad news.
Okay.
Okay. I want you to understand that it's difficult for us to say this stuff too, but he's probably not going to make it.
No.
Listen.
No.
I have to tell you. Okay. I have to tell you. Okay. Right now, they're going to be. His parents are up at the hospital right now. Okay.
I'm listening. I'm sorry.
It's okay. There's nothing for you to be sorry about.
Watch what she does next. She has just been told the person she describes as her best friend is likely going to die. Within moments, her distress channels not into grief, not into silence, not into shock, but into a question about herself.
Especially if I end up having to go to jail for something. I just want to know that he's okay before I do, because
What would you have to go to jail for?
the fake money, the smoking of blood. I don't know. Anything that was, if like my house did get searched and there was any drugs there or anything like that being found, just other reasons.
Harris asks her directly, what would you go to jail for? If she were innocent of the shooting, the answer would be nothing, or confusion. Instead, she begins listing lesser offenses, the counterfeit money, the drugs, the paraphernalia. She is constructing a hierarchy of crimes in which the shooting does not appear. She is afraid of jail, but the crimes she lists are all crimes she can survive. The one she does not list is the one she cannot. On Christmas morning 2019, Dakota Kersey's family made the decision to remove him from the ventilator. He was 16 years old. He had packed his school bag the night before because someone he cared about was supposed to drive him to class in the morning. That person was in a police interrogation room listing the reasons she might go to jail, and his name was not among them.
Several weeks have passed. Dakota is dead. Christian has been brought back in. This time, the detective knows considerably more than he did during the first session, and this time he intends to show her.
All right, so here's what I want to do, all right? Before we go any further, you and I talked before, right? And I told you how important it was that you're honest, right? Because honesty is what's going to make the difference, right? For me, for you, for everybody, right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing, okay? I'm gonna talk to you about some things that I know that you weren't quite honest with me about. Okay? And I'm going to give you an opportunity to clear things up a little bit. And then I'm going to tell you some things that I've learned.
Harris has restructured his approach entirely. In session 1, he was a listener. He let Christian build her narrative without challenge. In session 2, he opens by telling her he already knows she lied. This is a deliberate tactical shift. He is no longer gathering information, he is controlling the conversation. The question is no longer what happened. The question is how much she is willing to admit now that the lies from session 1 have been identified.
The way that the medical examiner has determined preliminarily, in other words, just a preliminary determination, was that this was most likely not self-inflicted. Okay? So they're saying that the way that the wound was, and the distance from where the gunshot was taken to the wound, it would make it near impossible for it to be self-inflicted.
The first piece of evidence lands. The self-harm narrative that Christian carefully planted in session 1 has just been removed from the table by the medical examiner. Dakota did not shoot himself. The angle was wrong, the distance was wrong. Christian's fallback explanation no longer exists. Watch how she processes this.
You were telling me that Dakota brought that gun over to you. Remember? Remember when you told me that? You said that Dakota brought the gun over. Okay. And that part I know is not true. Okay. I didn't know that then, but I do know now that that's not true. I know that gun was yours. Okay. I know this. And I know this from a lot of different sources, not just one place. Okay. And I understand that you got robbed. All right. And from what I understand and what I have spoken to several people about is the reason that you got that gun was because you were scared. And I got that. Totally get it. Makes a lot of sense to me.
Harris is doing something sophisticated here. He is revealing that he knows the gun was hers, but he is simultaneously offering her an honorable reason for owning it. She was frightened after the home invasion. He is building a bridge for her to cross. If she admits the gun was hers, but frames it as self-protection, she can preserve some credibility. The question is whether she will take the bridge or try to swim.
Does anybody in the building have a lighter? Is there any ability that I could smoke a cigarette just and breathe for a second?
This is a deflection, but look at the timing. Harris has just dismantled 2 pillars of her story in under a minute: the self-harm theory and the gun ownership lie. Christian's response is not to address either one, it is to ask for a cigarette. When someone changes the subject immediately after being confronted with evidence, they are buying time. They need a moment to recalculate which parts of their story can still stand and which need to be abandoned.
So why did you have to lie to me about the gun? Why did you feel the need to do that?
Because I feel like the tendency of the law enforcement system, people end up sometimes getting a shitty hand, and I felt like I was going to get a hand of getting charged for somehow killing, I guess at this point, killing Dakota or shooting Dakota or doing something to Dakota. And that's exactly what it sounds like now.
Listen to the progression in her own sentence. She begins with killing, then corrects herself to shooting, then softens further to doing something to. She is negotiating with language in real time, testing which word carries the least weight. People who are genuinely innocent do not typically rank the severity of the accusation they are afraid of. They reject the accusation entirely. Christian is not rejecting it. She is trying to find the version of it she can live with.
You're a young lady.
I'm a young lady that's probably going to spend the rest of my life in jail for something I didn't do.
We're not in the business of putting people in jail for doing stuff they didn't do. We're in the business of getting to the bottom of things and the truth, and then the chips fall where they may.
She has now used the phrase, "something I didn't do," more than once. Each time she does not specify what that something is. She does not say, "I did not shoot Dakota." She says she did not do something. The vagueness is protective. A direct denial can be directly disproven. A vague denial can be reinterpreted later if needed.
Why did you pick the shell casing up?
What is that? Is that the hollow thing?
Mm-hmm.
That's in my trunk. I didn't know what that was at first.
You know,
and
the
like,
bullet that you put at the bottom, the shell casing that you put at the bottom of the cigarette case on.
bottom of the cigarette case.
Yeah, your cigarette case.
It wasn't in a cigarette case, it was in a box.
No, it was in a cigarette case. It's the shell casing from the round that shot Dakota.
No, I specifically remember it was a box in the trunk.
No, it was in your cigarette pack, and it was sitting on your center console in your vehicle.
Okay.
So that's why I was asking you why you put it in there. Because you told me before that, that the reason that you put the gun in your purse.
Yeah, because, and then whenever all I 100% know is that I had picked it up and I feel like something clicked and I thought about it, but I didn't want to believe that was what it was. But
So, when you picked the shell casing up and you put it in the cigarette pack, were you doing that for the same reason?
No, because I don't know exactly what my reason was, but I'm trying to think because I feel like this shit doesn't look good, but I'd rather think hard about it and look stupid and be able to tell you the truth.
The shell casing from the fatal round was found inside a cigarette pack on her center console. Christian initially pretends not to know what a shell casing is, then within the same breath describes picking it up and placing it in the cigarette pack. She transitions from ignorance to admission in a single sentence, and there is a detail the detective does not mention here, but the investigation uncovered. At the crime scene, Christian repeatedly demanded that forensic officers allow her to retrieve a pack of cigarettes from her car. When they refused, she tried to physically force the car door open. A detective had to pull her away. She was not after cigarettes, she was after the casing.
The 9mm shell that was fired inside your trailer, was capable of 160 decibels. Okay.
I don't know what that means.
That means if you listen to the space shuttle launch, the rocket launch of the space shuttle, that's how loud that is.
So how did I not wake up? So and I feel like you're going to ask me that because I don't understand.
Well, that's why I'm bringing that up. Okay. Because with as loud as that is, okay, it would be very unlikely that being in such a small area that you would be able to remain asleep during that kind of noise. Even being a deep sleeper, that noise is unbelievably loud. Unbelievable. Your trailer is not.
Lie detector test or something? Because I'm not trying to go to jail for murder.
The space shuttle comparison is the moment the sleep defense dies. There is no version of reality in which a person sleeps through the sound equivalent to a rocket launch in an enclosed space smaller than most living rooms. Harris does not say she is lying. He doesn't need to. He presents the number and lets the physics do the work. Christian's response is not to explain how she slept through it. Her response is to request a lie detector test. She has no answer for the 160 decibels, so she tries to redirect to a different arena entirely.
The Clorox wipes were used, okay, to clean up the area a little bit. All right. And I don't know whether you know that you put them in the trash and they had blood on them. Okay, so they were used to wipe.
It's going worse and worse, and I don't like the way some of this is sounding.
Well, the reason I'm telling you this is because these are things I found out after you and I talked. So I'm letting you know where I'm at. Okay, this is where I'm at. I just want you to explain it to me. Do you remember doing that?
Never, not at all.
You don't remember cleaning those things up? You don't remember using Clorox wipes to wipe anything?
No, what did I supposedly wipe?
I don't know. They had blood on them? I don't know. I don't know if you wiped
Did y'all run the things on my clothes and my sheets for the blood? Because there was blood that had came out of my body that was on my sheets and on my clothes, and it was
some of the stuff that was on the walls inside your trailer had some smear marks like they had been wiped, and then there were also some Clorox wipes that were in the trash can. So that's why I'm trying to figure out, what goes behind doing that. Why did you do that? Why did you wipe those things? Or why did you, were you trying to be, because things happen, okay? When you're in a stressful situation, you do things that you wouldn't normally do. Understand? Right? So that's why I'm trying to figure it out. So can you tell me why?
No, because I did not do that. I don't know. The Clorox wipes, wiping things I did not do.
Okay. Well, I mean, they were your Clorox wipes. They were in your trailer. I mean, you had a full thing of them or a half full thing of them or whatever. It was in there, and there were some that were used and had blood on them that were in the trash can.
Notice the shift in her denial style. In session 1, when she lied about the gun, she offered explanations. She built narratives around her lies. With the Clorox wipes, she offers nothing, just flat denial. No alternative explanation, no story about why they might be there. This is the denial of someone who has run out of stories. She cannot explain blood-soaked cleaning wipes in her own bin, so she simply says no. But her own Clorox wipes in her own trailer, with her victim's blood on them, in her own rubbish bin, do not require her confirmation. They require only her DNA on the container they came from. Christian returns for a third session. She has taken a polygraph test. The results were inconclusive. The detective uses this as his entry point.
I go back over. She told you that your test was inconclusive, right?
It's very upsetting.
Do you know what that means? Did she tell you what that means?
They couldn't get a yes or a no, I think. Well,
what it means is there's probably some things that you may have been slightly dishonest on. This is what they're saying.
Harris frames the inconclusive polygraph result as evidence of dishonesty. Technically, an inconclusive result means the test could not determine truth from deception. But Harris is not interested in technical accuracy right now. He is interested in leverage. The polygraph result gives him a new pressure point, and he intends to use it to open the conversation from a position of authority rather than inquiry.
You found the gun or anything like that. Okay. And that's because the gun was already gone. Because what you did was you waited while you put stuff in the car and hid things before you called 911. You were on the phone and you tried to text at 7 o'clock. Okay. And this is from your phone. Okay. And the text didn't go through.
7.
Yeah. Or not 7, but 1 o'clock. I'm sorry. And the text did not go through. Okay. So at that point, that
was before I called 911 because that was before I knew that I didn't have service.
Right. That's 30 minutes before you called 911. Okay. So that's a long time.
This is the moment the timeline collapses. Harris has the phone records. He has the 911 call. He can prove she was awake at 1 p.m. He can prove she did not call for help until 1:30 p.m. And he can prove that by the time she made that call, the gun, the money, and the shell casing were already in her car. The 30-minute gap is not a gap in her memory. It is a gap she filled with a methodical dismantling of a crime scene while a 16-year-old boy lay dying on the floor beside her.
And trying to find somebody with a phone who had service.
Okay, and you had to have been putting the stuff in the car at that time too, huh? There's no other way to do it because you were on the phone the whole time with EMS.
Okay.
And you were doing stuff. I mean,
okay.
That's what I'm asking. Is that what happened?
I suppose if that's what adds up, is one of the most revealing phrases in this entire interrogation. She is not confirming. She is not denying. She is outsourcing the conclusion to the evidence. She is saying, if the evidence says I did it, then I suppose I did. This is the language of someone who knows the lie is unsustainable, but cannot bring herself to replace it with the truth. She has lost control of the narrative, and she knows it. A second detective enters the room. His approach is markedly different from Harris's.
You keep a gun in your trailer. The gun ends up in your car. I mean, I'm not trying to...
I know everything.
You're really
bad.
You're treating us like stupid, okay? Just being straight with you. You knew it was a gunshot immediately. Now listen. You watch plenty of shows. You said you don't know anything about guns yet. You already know about Dracos. You know about AK-47s. You have one tattooed on you. Okay? Stop the inconsistent bullshit. It's as simple as this. You wake up, you see him with a gunshot wound. Okay? Based off of your statements, at least. He already expressed that there's a 30-minute window. Okay? You take time to hide the gun. The that's on him is already drying at this point by the time EMS gets there. You've already stated inside this room that you're going to be going to prison for the rest of your life.
No.
You did. You said that's the reason why you're in here, and you're going to get whatever information you need to do to snitch.
I didn't say.
And then you sit here and you have an issue. I'm sorry, the reality.
Listen, I'm trying to shut up and do what you had to say.
Look at the reality of the situation here, okay?
The second detective is offering her the same bridge Harris built in Session 2, but with less subtlety and more force. He is telling her he does not believe she is a monster. He is telling her he thinks it was an accident. He is giving her a narrative she can adopt that is less damaging than premeditated murder. This is a standard interrogation technique. Minimize the crime to make confessions psychologically easier. If she says it was an accident, she has still admitted to firing the weapon. The legal distinction between accident and intent is for the courtroom. The interrogation room just needs the admission.
Anything
If you wanted
you're
some
trying to wordplay.
It's not wordplay. I'm being very blunt. and
No,
very
you're being very rude.
It's not being
and
rude.
disrespectful with
not
a
rude.
loud tone that I don't appreciate.
You being louder to me doesn't win this conversation here, and it's not an argument. What I'm telling you is that I'm presenting the
I feel like
facts.
I'm being attacked.
I'm being very blunt with you, and I've been very straight with you.
Can I go?
Give me one second.
Can I go? Can I go?
Yeah, you're free. Yep. Hang on, just hang on. I have to walk you down.
This is the moment everything shifts. The detective has laid out the evidence. He has challenged her directly. And Christian's response is not to answer the accusation. It is not to offer a new explanation. It is not to break down. It is to complain about his tone. She tells a homicide detective that she finds his manner rude and disrespectful. She tells him she does not appreciate being spoken to loudly. She frames herself as the person being mistreated in this room. A 16-year-old boy is dead. She is the only person who was in the room when it happened, and her concern at this moment is the volume of the detective's voice. What makes this extraordinary is not the entitlement itself, it is the timing. This transformation does not emerge gradually. It appears fully formed the instant the detective raises his voice. The shift from tearful, confused young woman to indignant authority figure takes less than a sentence. It is not a stress response, it is a strategy. When the emotional performance stops working, she switches to a dominance performance. Neither is genuine. They are tools she selects based on what she thinks will be most effective in the moment.
Just raise your right hand. Tell me that you're telling the truth. That's all.
Please don't ever bring him in here to talk to me again. I'll talk to anyone here. You can just throw me in jail, please. I don't want to do that again. And it's not even that I want to finish.
I understand.
It's not even that I'm done talking to you. It's that I'm so done with this in general.
I understand. Raise your right hand for me, honey. Raise your right hand for me.
I'm tired of raising my hand and then signing things when I feel like it's just putting me in worse positions.
Okay, I understand completely. You swear the information you provided me is true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
After
Listen to what she just did. Harris asks her to swear that everything she has said is true. She says yes, and then in the same breath, she adds a detail she has never mentioned before. The gun was under the stove. She has just told the detective where the weapon was stored before the shooting. This is information an innocent bystander would not have. This is information the shooter would have. She has been so focused on the performance of her oath that she did not hear herself confess. 3 interrogation sessions, weeks of investigation, and in the end, it was not the forensic evidence that sealed Christian Ard's fate. It was not the phone records or the Clorox wipes or the shell casing in the cigarette pack. It was a single, unguarded sentence delivered while she was busy performing the role of the wrongly accused that told detectives exactly what they needed to know. She knew where the gun was stored. She knew because she put it there. She knew because she took it out. And she knew because she used it. Dakota Kersey packed a school bag on the evening of December 23rd and went to stay with someone he cared about. He brought his homework. He brought his clothes for the morning. He sat at the end of her bed while she fell asleep, or while she pretended to. And at some point during that night, the person he had taken in, the person he had supported, the person he had stayed with because she was afraid to be alone, pointed a gun at his head and fired. She then spent the next 30 minutes removing the evidence from around his body. She took his money. She went through his pockets. She wiped the walls. She hid the casing. She moved the gun. And only when she had attended to every detail that might connect her to what she had done, she called for help. Not for him, for herself. because Dakota Kersey was already beyond help. He had been beyond help from the moment she pulled the trigger. And the only person in this story who ever tried to help anyone was the 16-year-old boy who ended up on the floor.
Christian Ard was charged with aggravated manslaughter, grand theft of a firearm, possession of cocaine with intent to sell, possession of a hallucinogen with intent to sell, possession of marijuana with intent to sell, possession of drug paraphernalia, giving false information to law enforcement, evidence tampering, and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. She was sentenced to 20 years in prison, followed by 10 years of probation. Dakota Kersey was 16 years old. He is remembered by his family and friends as someone who showed up for the people around him, even when they did not deserve it.